as well.
Yeah, got it.
Okay. So welcome to our Scrappies webinar series. I believe this is third or fourth one, actually. And my name is Matias Mäkikuutti. I'm a researcher in the Innovative Learning Environments group here at the University of Jyväskylä, Finland. And it is my pleasure to introduce next speaker, who's from Hungary, Peter Fuchs, from the Makers Red Box team. And before I give the floor to Peter, I will just say that the purpose of these Scrappies project webinars is to provide some insights into sustainability education from multiple countries. And previously we have had a case study already from Nepal and Austria and Poland, and now we are looking at how technology is utilized in Hungary. So I'm very excited to hear what Peter has to say. So Peter, the floor is yours.
Yeah, thank you very much. There is a lot to tell. It's first, it's really hard to tell exactly what I am and where I am speaking from, which position. I could say I'm a STEAM teacher. Also, we could say that, or I could say that I'm a maker. And all of these have some connections to sustainability and how we sustain our life, our business, and whatever we make. Also, if I happen to have a card somewhere here, which I don't, it would say that I am a lead developer and also a game designer. Maybe that's the closest you can get to my role in the team. In the background, you can see the four main boxes, which we actually, I have a box somewhere here, around here, which we use or produce. But I am going to talk the most about the global warming, the box we just finished, and because it has the most connections to sustainability. Actually, it has a part about sustainability, how to put it, chapter in the book. Let me grab the book, which I forgot, just a moment. Here is the box. So this is the box, global warming. The book. Yeah. So I just wanted to show you how big the box is. It's full, actually, yes. Now, but the book was not included into the box, so I'm not going to show you the book. Let's start the presentation. And I'm going to share my screen because there are multiple elements of that presentation. All this thing is here, how to move it with the different stuff. Let's try to move it.
You can choose when you are starting the screen sharing, you can choose which window you would like to.
I have so many open, and
yes.
and I wanted to go to the website, our website, but what I'm going to do is.
I think the tab is open already, probably.
Yeah, but you know, I have that thing there which you don't see.
I see. Yes.
With the different options. So this is the website. And these are the course materials. I just want to say a few words about them. Superheroes, digital storytelling, green engineers, city of future, and global warming. At the very moment, I am having a green engineers camp in another school right now. And a colleague of mine jumped in, and they are doing a city of future. You know, the idea of sustainability is deeply embedded into whatever we do. The easier is to show you the title of green engineers, which is green, you know, sustainable, and global warming. All of these, including City of Future, are dealing with this issue. And when we started to write global warming 2 years ago, we faced this idea of, let's start the presentation. Maybe this is slideshow. Yeah, that's it. Okay, yes, happening, great. So we were thinking about how to justify, that's the best word, how to justify the usage of equipment, materials, time to teach kids about sustainability without, for example, using sustainable 3D printing material and things like this. How we can talk about global climate change while wasting energy by using a lamp, for example, to read a book. So we came down to the most basic questions of sustainability, and I found a really good source of inspiration to answer this. And it is in the book which I wanted to show you, but I don't have it at the moment. Sadly, that's it. I'm not going to look for it. And in the book, we said that in this inspirational chapter, we said that if you have a aim while you are experimenting, prototyping, making, then it's no longer wasted. So when you are doing something on a purpose, and now I am coming to the second word, aim, purpose, and destiny, design, then that is no longer wasted and no longer the destroying of the equipment and materials, expanding them, but rather it is a really useful and sustainable activity to make. And we try to kind of keep this premise through the course material. I will talk a lot more about what we do and how we do it. This is a kind of a summary what you see here. And that's why I told Matthias that I was looking for a quote. And the quote is from Adam Savage, who is one of the Mythbusters. And he says that there are two things which make us human: crafting, making things, and telling stories. And when we are making, which is happening in a makerspace, we are doing both. This is something like 95% of the quote. I'm not entirely sure about that. So what we do, we are telling stories with the making. So whatever we build in a makerspace environment, we are in a makerspace now. We have 3D printers, laser cutters, CNC machines around me, and everything is full with electronics. They are somewhere there, the electronics. We are using microbit mostly. We are telling stories. And what we do, we are telling different stories. Each story is half a year. It takes for the kid half a year to process a story, and tells a lot about our world, our future maybe, and how we should save this future, how we should sustain this future. As you can see, there are a lot of buzzwords here: scientific research, role play, adaptability. And maybe I can show you a few images about the journey we are taking in global warming. It's a half-year journey on a fictional ship, which is going around the world and showing the participants. We usually call them participants because they are not always kids. Our main target group are high schoolers, but sometimes we have kids or people from the very really different ages. And they are using this fictional ship you can see here, the Leaf, to make a round-the-world journey and understand what is climate change and how we can live with climate change. How can we have a tomorrow with climate change? And if you look at the buzzwords, you will see on the top right corner, adaptability. How we try to adapt to climate change. This is a really important statement which we do here, that you can adapt. A lot of things has happened during the history of humanity, and we managed to adapt to most of it. We are not really able to stop it or to reverse it. We can try. We have to adopt. That's a really important lesson from the story, which they take when they travel around the world in an imaginary voyage. They have 6 major stations where they stop, and at every stop they make different objects, and they learn through these objects. They build prototypes and eventually learn how to work with the machines which we are using in the makerspace, the 3D printer, the microbit, the laser cutter, and they learn how to employ these knowledge, these machines, and the knowledge how to use the machines to learn about how to adopt and even to adopt your way of life to the changing, which is coming with the global climate change. That's why we are calling it global warming, because we still have time to warn people that they have to live with this, they have to work with this. So they are using this fixture ship, and they are using 6 different roles. When participants are working with our materials in a classroom environment, they are asked to take different roles during the journey. And you can see that there are 6 major roles happening, and they have individual tasks prepared for them depending on which role they take. There is the role of the artist, the entrepreneur, the policymaker, the inventor, the scientist, and the influencer. Of course, they all have roles which are interconnected. So, for example, the scientists have to come up with some data, and the influencer have to disperse this data. The inventor have to come up with a device which helps the scientist or the influencer or the policymaker to do their job, to show how change is affecting them. The policymaker have to come up with new policies. The entrepreneur have to come up with business plans, and the artists have to come up with art. They have to come up with ideas how to make these things visible. And I'm going to show you some of the examples what we do with kids to make these roles visible, how to make them live their roles. These are some of the images of how we work with kids. As you can see, there is a lot of talking and discussion happening, and you can see them really busy writing theses, doing prototypes, showing each other what they learned during the journey. They happen to remain around the same tables, but they travel a lot in their minds, and whatever we do is coming in a box. We usually use a box for a group of 12 students, but for example, today I am working with 25. So we have another kit. If you are using our boxes, then you can work with a larger audience. And when we use our boxes as a device to facilitate classroom activity, the box which I have just shown you a few minutes before are also present, and you can see what kind of how to put it, things you can find in our box. So our goal was to set up a makerspace in any school environment with our box. If you open the box, you can use the machines which you have in your makerspace to start different activities. These are collected images of from all different boxes. As you can see, we employ a lot of gamified element. We give a lot of handouts to the teacher to help them, and the boxes contain most of the special equipment needed for the individual boxes. And what we do as the Maker Red box, and that's why we are invited here, we are offering teacher trainings in the form of the boxes. So when you have one of our boxes in South Africa or in Finland, then you open the box, you start to work with your class, and we are teaching you with teacher videos in an online platform, which is a website, and we are showing you what to do with the kids. we offer you a book. The book is telling you what to do, and the teacher trainings are telling you how to do it. So if you are a teacher anywhere in the world, you open the box and you can start working with these technologies like 3D printing, electronics and soldering, or laser cutting to teach them. There is a David star over there saying that expect global warming. Actually, laser cutting is optional in global warming. So if you don't have a laser cutter, you can still go on because you can use your printer for the parts which are laser cutted, and you will have basically the same experience. But if you have a laser cutter, you can use it for that. And let's talk about the global warming part. So this is where the journey starts. And it's as it says, it's a climate expedition around the world. And I am just going to give you a short rundown of what kind of activities we are doing in global warming. Every episode is a 90-minute activity, and there is a lot of things happening which I'm not going to show you. But this is the journey to take for the kids to understand how to adapt to change, how to live with climate change. That's why it's a warning. And in many extent, this is what telling them how to understand sustainability. We talk a lot about sustainability and how a sustainable society should be and can be created by them. So they are the ones, they are the future who are going to create these societies. And the most important part of the warning message is that this is all of our issue to work with, you know, that this is not something specific to Pacific Islands or to South Africa or to Canada. These are some of the locations which we are not visiting South Africa, but there are some attendees from South Africa. That's why I'm stressing it. So it's everybody's problem, and everybody should work with it. And it's a scientific expedition which we intentionally not telling where does it come from. So it could be your country where the scientific expedition is from, and they are exploring the whole world at different locations, and they should be all involved. Our idea was to tell people that no matter where they live, for example, Hungary is a landlocked country, we don't have any oceans. But during this journey, they learn a lot about corals and how to save corals, how to preserve the coral reefs. And we don't have any corals with us, but it doesn't really matter because it's everybody's issue. And they should know and learn a lot about corals because they are also, how to put it, involved into saving corals. All of our resources, all of our ideas, and I think that's the most important here now in the 20 minutes of the presentation. All of our creativity is needed to deal with issues. We in Maker at the Box mainly work with creativity, the creative energies of the kids which they employ. And here you can see the travel journal, which is a book which they all get. And when they choose a role, they get committed to this particular role, and all the tasks they get are in this book, which is we call the travel journal. It's like 50 pages book or 80 maybe, and they start to have different tasks happening according to the travel journal and by the instructions of the teacher. And then they start to build their own cabin, which is a laser cutting, and they learn how to use the laser cutter and how to use the software for laser cutting. And if you don't have a laser cutter, you use a simple printer to print the cabins, because vector graphics can be used in any media needed. We can even use a 3D printer if needed. And then they arrive to the first destination of this journey, which is Chennai, India. And they learn a lot about how urban area is adapting to climate change. It's a really complicated issue. We talk a lot about them. As you can see, there are some concept images showing them where they are and what kind of environment they are in. And they are looking for solutions, how the people adapt to climate change. For example, if you are looking at this image, you will see that this Chennai has special water canals and water reserves to adapt to climate change. We never use the word battle because it's not a battle. And as you can see in the activity name, it's called the data visualization, because we are building a map of the future Chennai in which all the transport and traffic happening in the city are sustainable. So they are all electrical or human driven, and you can see here the result during episode 6. They are doing this for already 6 episodes, 6 times 90 minutes. There is a lot of discussion, a lot of making happening. And you can see here that they are doing a data visualization, which is a 3D printed thing. They are designing the different small colorful objects, which you can see in their hands. And they have special tasks to follow. For example, they have to figure out how this city should work with zero emission transport to fulfill all the cities which are needed for a city. It's a really complicated, it's like a board game element. And I could show you live what is happening, but we are not in a workshop situation now. But you can imagine what is happening from the images. At episode 6, at the half of episode 6, they are moving on to the next location, which is the Great Pacific Ring of Fire, and they learn a lot about volcanoes and how volcanoes change our climate, how they affect our climate. And this is the first time they work with microcontrollers. During episode 7, they reach the island of Palau, which is in the Pacific. And we chose this island because it's one of the islands which have the largest sustainable industry for tourism and fishery, because they implemented changes which we thought are inspiring for the kids to follow. And we went to the depths of involving the local people, that we contacted them when we were doing this course material, and asked them to contribute, and they did. And they recorded a video which is for the kids to orient themselves what kind of activities they are going to make in Palau. So we reached out for the Palauian people and asked them to contribute and asked them to be part of this activity, and they did. I don't know if we have time, but maybe I can show you how we did it. There is a small video which is helping the kids from all around the world to learn about Palau and how Palau's sustainable economy of fishing and tourism are working. But what you can see on the image is a concept art which are giving an orientation of the kids what to research on, because they are doing a lot of research about different effects of the Palau. And during the next 2 episodes, they are going to design automated coral nursery, which is a special system to monitor corals. And they learn about the microbit, how to use the microbit, how to program it. And they start to print corals with a 3D printer. These are mock-up corals, but they are coming from a special material which we offer in the box. And it's a thermoactive material which changes color according to heat. And they are going to use, as you can see on this image, hot water to symbolize how the corals are dying if you change the different circumstances, for example, temperature of the water. And there is an alarm system which they develop with the microbit. And if the color is changing temperature and color, it alarms the volunteers, for example, to save the other corals which are not yet dying and move to a new location, so they can grow and they can be reinserted into the water later on. For example, this is a kind of a symbolic system. We are more wanted to show the capabilities of microbit and the capabilities how you can sensor something which really helps you to save your environment. And there was a group of kids who were not satisfied with this solution, and they wanted to do more. And for example, during this semester, I'm building a real coral nursery, which is a much larger project. Like it's 10 episodes only for the coral nursery, but we are building a real coral nursery with real thermometers, real corals, and real stuff. This is happening right now. We are going to present it this Saturday to a Canadian grant, which is dealing with ocean life and how to save ocean life and how to build a sustainable ocean structure. Now, and during episode 10, we are moving forward to Canada. I mean the expedition to the Northwest Passage, and there is a board game element happening with the kids, and this is a 1 hour session during which they understand how the carbon cycle is affecting our life. So how methane is going to be released from the permafrost, and how the natural carbon cycle got disrupted by human pollution and human action, and what kind of actions they should take to understand this, and how to adopt, and how to maybe even reverse the human contribution to the carbon cycle. It's a really interesting, a really engaging game, and they understand actually the gravity of the situation. This is very important, that they start to understand how important their own role are in changing the climate. And during episode 11 and 12, they are building advanced sensors which are for understanding our climate. And we put it into another story. They are arriving to the Orinoco River to South America, and we chose Orinoco because we were consulting with a lot of climate scientists, and they said that Orinoco River is an excellent river because it's very typical to other rivers around the world. So if you are living close to a river, you are going to face the same changes as the people of Venezuela who are living next to the Orinoco River. And we learn a lot more about microbit and about the way how we handle our ecosystems, like forests and marshes and plains. They learn a lot about this. And as what you can see on the lower right corner of the image is a special sensor which we provide in the box. It's compatible with microbit, and actually with Arduino also, but it's mainly compatible with microbit. And you just insert a microbit, and it will send environmental data. So environmental data like CO2 equivalent gases or volatile organic components to all the microbits of the class, and they can understand how different small factors are affecting our environment, and how can we affect those. During episode 12, they have to find the perfect spot for a new forest, which makes the coastline eco-friendly and stops exploiting the land. So they are given a map, and they have to figure out where is the perfect place for a newly planted mangrove forest, which is going to be restored by them. Of course, we don't give them mangrove seeds or things like this. They have to figure out a certain part of the map and come up with an idea, kind of a business plan, how to regrow mangrove based on the scientific data they get from the sensors. So they are using the microbit shield, which you have seen on the last image, the image before in episode 11, and also the different sensors which they built to measure the salinity of water during episode 12. And from episode 13 up, from episode 13, 14, 15, and 16, they are kind of giving a presentation on what they learned during the last 12 episodes in the form of different makings. For example, they make a special bookmark which can be used in any book, and it is called the, I don't have one here, just okay, it doesn't matter. You can't see my small image anyway, or maybe you can, doesn't matter. But they are doing this bookmark, which is a kind of which we call trial stage. It's already something which the school can measure, how much they learn from 3D printing, how much they learn from this field of making or makerspace. And also there is a lot of research. You can actually see the thing here. The kid is inserting into a glass, and this is a special bookmark which can be used as a bookmark for a book, but can also measure water level and how rising water level is happening, because they are doing a special microbit animation with it. And also from episode 15 and 16, they are working on a special presentation for the classmates and for the schoolmates on what they learned and how it's affecting their life, how it's related to them, how wherever they were in South America or in Canada or in the Pacific, how it is related back to their own life. And they have to build their own school building which reflects what they learned. And we are offering them 4 different school environments. These are pre-printed and pre-painted things you can see on the image. This is the school for arid environments, and they have to present to their schoolmates what they learned during the journey and how it helped them understand about climate change. Okay, that was the presentation. Let's stop the presentation thing here. Hopefully I stop the presentation and not the recording. Yeah, I did. And that's basically the rundown of the journey and how they took the journey. And I want to say you a few words about the effect of the journey, because I did it like 7 times. I can't remember exactly, but I tried it 7 times with different groups. And my colleagues, teachers also started to do the same journey with kids around the world. At the moment, we have a lot of activity happening in Iceland. So it's really funny, but Iceland is one of the places which are featured in the presentations. And Icelandic teachers came here, and they joined our journey with global warming. They brought the boxes to Iceland, and in Icelandic schools they are working with global warming, and I am receiving their presentations, and they are really interesting. So from the presentations and from my own experience, this is something I can share with you from my own experience, that kids start the global warming with some preconceptions about climate change. And they say things like, oh, I know that there is some gases which are damaging the ozone layer, things like this, or sea levels are rising. And when we go into these subjects and they learn a lot about them, they understand some really important concepts, like what is being sustainable, what is climate change, how climate change is happening, who is causing it. And we are not putting any words into their mouths. They are learning this through their roles, which I just showed you, and through research and understanding scientific facts. So we try to remain as neutral as possible, but still we can implement these ideas to them. And during the final presentations, they are giving us a kind of feedback, or maybe feedback is not the right word, but I forgot the English word for that. They are kind of reassuring us that we are on the right way of teaching them this way. Because at the beginning of the whole activity, in episode 1, we are asking them all of these things which I just told you, that they are mixing up the ozone layer with the greenhouse gases, or they are aware that the sea levels are rising, but they can't visualize how they are rising. And for example, when we are at Chennai or the Orinoco, we are giving them examples how sea level rising is happening. So what is actually happening and how it will affect their lives. And during the very last session, we asked them basically the same questions, what they learned from this journey. And the most important answer, and that's what I wanted to give you as a takeaway, is that they went through all of this stuff like 3D printing and everything. And they tell us that they learned a lot, and they learned to understand and stopped the fear the effect which they don't understand. This kind of paralyzing fear they have has disappeared. They already understand the true magnitude of events, the true stakes which are at hand, but they are no longer fear it. And I think that's the most a teacher can get anytime, anywhere. And it's already a lot. So I don't know if I have to talk more, or are there any questions happening? Hello, Christoph. But if there are any questions, I would really love to answer them.
I think this is a perfect moment, and Christoph is about to introduce himself, I guess. So go ahead.
No, I just wanted to say that as long as you are here, Matthias, you are the host. So please
yes.
Continue. Yeah.
Well, I just want to say that thank you. It was a very, very comprehensive look at your so many things in such a small box of things and a book. So
yeah. Please continue.
No, I just want to thank you for the introduction to all of it, and I'm sure that there are many questions on the way that have come to participants' minds throughout this. So I encourage anyone who wants to ask anything.
I already have a question.
Okay.
Yeah. How many kids are participating? It's very hard to tell. We are a public company, or whatever the name is in English, and we are selling these boxes around the world. And we are in a very early phase of whatever we are doing. But for example, last year we had 500 Roma kids. Roma is a minority in Hungary. They are a really special minority. Some of you might very be aware of them, and they are usually coming from an impoverished background and have very limited access of digital technology. And Google gave us a grant to reach them, and we built like 40 City of Futures, which is another of our material, very close to global warming, but different. And they were really successful with it. It turned out that these kids who hardly have a smartphone have a lot of ideas about their own future, and they really want to talk about these ideas. With global warming, we already have like a dozen of schools running them, and every year more and more kids are introduced with global warming, and it's a very, how to put it, a very simple way to put it. They are not enough. I want to spread it to everywhere. I really want to every school in the world trying and working with these materials, especially global warming. I never met a kid who was not interested in this subject and was not energized. That's the best way to put it. When they experience this journey of global warming, and I have an engineer friend who is a real engineer. You know, this kind of guys who want to engineer everything, even people. And he just met me for dinner and came to my workshop to the school, and was looking onto the kids and said, you know, Peter, they will be the ones who are going to design our prosthetics for hip, because they will be the medical personnel, the doctors, the engineers of the future, and now you are training them for the first steps. And I think for me that was a very good definition of sustainability, that we already giving them essential skills to complete, and the more possibility for this could happen, the better for us. And our whole idea with these red boxes were that there are so many places on Earth. I think all of you know at least a dozen places, each of you, maybe Christoph more, that have 3D printers and laser cutters, and they don't know what to do with them. We exactly know what to do with them. We are very well aware, and the most important message is, you don't need me for that. You only need the box, because whatever I have, the knowledge, the experience is in the box, and you are able to do it. No matter what kind of background you have as a teacher, you will be able to do it. It became too much sales focus now, okay? Any more questions? Great project, Peter. Indeed, empowering within the sustainable development awareness space. Okay, let me see the whole comment. Yeah, I just opened the chat, and I can see that Sune also said, but also a great project to inspire educators. Now that's very important, because educators are the people who we are aiming at. Educators are, you know, really important. And the reason is, okay, I have 10 more minutes. I'm going to go into another very important aspect. What I see around me is that educators are less and less important. They are neglected by the government, neglected by the kids, neglected by the society, and you can see the stress on the face of educators around the world, because they kind of not able to be up to date, to be relevant. Yeah, that's the word, relevant to the kids. And what we want to do are trying to make these educators relevant again by giving them new technology and giving them this feeling that they are real, they are relevant. They can show you how to 3D print, even if they don't have a 3D printer at home, and you don't have a 3D printer at home, you participant, but you have here in the makerspace or in the school. And I think that's the most important aspect, that we can really make these educators feel that they are educating again. And I had this happening several times here in Hungary or in abroad, and it really works. Also, there is another question. What age groups are the kids from 11 plus? Are they able to grasp the core scientific and problem-solving mathematical ideas that may be at play? Yes, they do. They do. This is really happening. So that's I am some of the most proud of, that when we are working with these kids, they understand, yeah, one of my favorite words, the gravity of education and how important it is to go back to the teachers and learn from them. For example, mathematical problem solving. Every time I am having a maker activity of ours in any of our schools, because we go to a lot of schools, they tell me, I mean, the participants tell me that I should have listened for more in algebra, for example, because they realize that what they learned in algebra should be important with sensors. So they are revisiting that knowledge. And you know what they are doing? Anyone have an idea what they are doing now, when there is a more complex equation happening? You can say, or you can write it. Of course, they take the laziest possible approach. They ask ChatGPT about it. So if they have a complex equation happening, they are trying to solve it with ChatGPT, and they get some answer which is not compatible with the current coding environment which we are using. So they ChatGPT, help me with my current coding environment. And then they ask me why ChatGPT is not helping them. And I tell them that you are maybe asking the wrong question from ChatGPT. And I can see that they close the window for ChatGPT and go back to the textbook. And ChatGPT is a really powerful tool. And I call it automatized bullshit generator because it can really automatize that kind of bullshit which belong to all education. But the new education, what we are doing, which is STEAM education or STEM education, is a very participatory education where you have to be there all the time and you have to listen everything. And those skills which you had 2 years ago with mathematics should come back. And my favorite moment is when they say, oh, we should call Icaneni. Icaneni means the old teacher they had 2 years ago who was called Ica, and Neni is a derogatory term which means that Lady Ica maybe, and ask her about this thing about mathematics because ChatGPT are not helping us right now. We should go now, and they leave. And I had a teacher who I usually don't work with kids. I work with educators, teachers, and this teacher told me that that for a very long time he felt to be a human being again. This is really, really sad, but in the same time, it's really powerful. That I had to teach this guy 3D printing and whatever else to feel like a human being again. It's really powerful, but this is a way how you can do it. I usually assume that you, other people here, have the same methods and same things happening, but I just want to shout out that we also do this, and we try to do this as much place as possible. Last time there was a call from Tibet, and those guys don't need our boxes because they already know this thing. But it's really, how to put it, really empowering and inspiring to see that anywhere in the world they can do this. If they are not sure that they want to do this, then we can help. That's it. That's the final message I can give if there are not any more questions. Peter, have you tried these activities in poor learning environments where technology and internet are not always available? Would like to hear of experiences. Yes, we tried. We tried and it worked. When we were doing the Google grant and we were working with Roma all around the country, we intentionally went to, how to put it, challenging environment. No internet, no technology, poor learning motivation. These are the three which I could mention. Some of these were really, really hard. But in fact, we had a super weapon for this kind of situation. Can you guess what the super weapon was? It's a really powerful tool to have. We had experienced teachers. So we employed teachers who already did a lot of activities, our activities, maker activities, and they were really creative with whatever they had on hand. For example, we had a City of Future where there were no 3D printing and very little electronics, but they had a lot of crafting materials because it did not need any internet. And they built a really beautiful City of Future, which they were really proud of with crafting materials, because the teacher was not afraid to implement new methods and new ideas on the fly. And we had a pilot running in Africa. I can't remember which country. I usually say Nigeria because that's the easiest way. It was somewhere around Nigeria. And they had really good results. With they were not doing Maker Redbox. They were doing something completely different, but with 3D printing. But they were our experts. And for example, they had 1 hour of electricity every day, but they still managed to 3D print. So everything is possible if you have teachers educators who are very well prepared. And that's the takeaway I always telling to everyone. that if you have good teachers who want to teach and their kids want to learn, everything is possible. It sounds very naive, but it is, and this is how it works. Usually my days are about overcoming problems, which are coming from learning environment which have difficulties. For example, 2 weeks ago, we had a camp which had no internet. And we were fighting for hours to find any kind of internet. Next time, we came with heavy artillery, and now we have an awful lot of internet happening in the same environment. We fixed it. We hacked it, and we fixed it. Any more questions? I think we are already at our time.
Yes. Thank you very much, Peter. This was a very informative and timely talk, I would say, especially from Hungary. I think educators need to be much inspired at the moment.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah, and thank you everyone for participating and presenting excellent questions for Peter. I think the questions really elevated, so to speak, this already very informative nature of the webinar. So from our side, from the University of Jyväskylä's side, thank you. And Christoph has their hand up, so we'll give Christoph Fenivisi a moment to speak here at the end as well.
Thank you so much, Matthias. I just didn't want to end this meeting without emphasizing that I'm so happy to close this year's webinars together with Peter and his innovation, because I know him since several years, and he was always an example of a person, of a creator who can make everything out of nothing. So I have seen it. I have seen it many times in his career, that how really amazing things come together, really in a makerspace way, that like taking the scratch and making something really amazing, really exceptional, and really.
I would really mention my team, that they are helping me.
Absolutely, absolutely, and you always had a very strong community and very strong cooperation with partners on different levels. So I think you are definitely a person to learn from in STEAM and also in experimental aspects of maker pedagogy. So it was a great pleasure that you shared your newest adventures with us. Thanks a lot, and I hope to see you again also within this project and then several other projects together with your team. And just to mention that I was also very happy to see your very selected audience. There were great authorities also in the audience, very, very modestly listening your talk. So it was a wonderful pleasure to close this year in this really highly professional community. Thanks to all of us who joined today. And we will continue also next year the webinars, and thanks for all who participated even towards the rushy end of the year, which is just in front of us, or where we are midst now. So thank you so much.
Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Yes, Christoph put it very well. This is the end of our this time's SCRAPPIES project webinar with a Maker's Red Box presented by Peter Fuchs. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.